What's going on, YouTube? Today we're going to rescape this 75-gallon tank. I was watching IPLC and got inspired and thought we'd rescape this to more of a natural style. Plus there were some mistakes that I made because the style it had previously, well, it wasn't properly scaped for that to begin with. That was kind of a last minute decision. So we're going to scape this properly this time, and we're going to keep some of the plants the same, but I've also added some new ones. We're also going to add some more rosette plants and non-stem plants just to make the maintenance a little easier. That way I don't have leaves floating everywhere every day. The fish are currently all in the holding tank at the moment, so let's get started. I'm Taylor, by the way, from Fishbox Studio. So this is the style that I've kind of been messing with on my coffee table. I drew diameters of the tank with painter's tape just to kind of help me get an idea, and I've been messing with this for the past few days. This is actually a really good practice. Is to just kind of draw the dimensions of your tank and grab what hardscape you can and kind of mess around with it and see what you got. We've got some serious stone, of course. I have a few bags of larger river pebbles just to kind of give it some height. And yeah, this is kind of what I've been thinking of going with. We might change it up a little bit, but this so far is the final thing. Might have to make a couple small changes depending on how well it fits in the tank, but from what I've been doing, it looks pretty decent so far. So let's start throwing this all in the tank and see what it looks like. Alright, so first we're going to start with this side. So what I'm thinking, triangular shape this time, but we're going to do it with more hardwood, hardscape, and then we'll add the plants afterwards. The idea here is we're obviously going to have to glue all this down. That's why I'm putting in the wood with the rocks. And I'm setting the rocks on purpose on key points of the wood so I have a place to glue the wood to the rock. That will keep the wood down and hopefully it won't float. And I'll show you how I glue them down as well. Aquascaping points or whatever for scaping with both wood and rock is you want the rock to kind of, or the wood to kind of mend around the rocks just to give it that more natural look as best you can. It's not always possible, and that's where you use plants to fill it in. I'm also thinking we could maybe add a little bigger plant here to kind of give it sort of that double island kind of look. Maybe an Amazon sword over here with the cypress halferi over here. That would look pretty neat. And then we could add some stem plants around it and some crypts, and then use that same dwarf hair grass as kind of the carpet to go around it. So let's get to gluing this together, and I will show you how I glue all this together so that we can get it to stay. Now, obviously, sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not. Sometimes it stays, sometimes it floats and the scape is all destroyed, but sometimes when that happens, it can actually be a benefit because, like I said before, the more you do this, the better you get. So what I have here is some super glue. I don't know if you can see that. Super glue and paper towels. What we're going to do is we're going to take the super glue, tear off some paper towels, just a little bit, like some nits and picks here, and we're going to glue the wood to the anchor points on the rock. So we got our piece of paper towel right here. We got our super glue right here. I'm just going to wrap that into a little ball like this. Kind of a little ball. I'm going to take out the super glue. And fair warning, if you're going to do this, it's a good idea to wear nylon gloves or gloves of some sort because you're going to get glue all over your hands, but I don't mind. I work in craft like this all the time. It doesn't bother me that bad, but it might bother you. So, just fair warning. And dabble this super glue all around it. Uh-oh, I don't want it up there. And then, gonna take this, stick it right about here. And right there. Then we're gonna take some of my aqua soil right here, and crush it, and just sprinkle it around it like that. Take my fancy spray bottle. It's the best tool you can buy for your aquarium, by the way. That's the cheapest too. Spray it down, and that'll help the reaction do its thing. Now I'm gonna hurry up and do the rest. I'm gonna pull the camera back and hurry up and do the rest so you guys don't have to, sit around for this painful process. Ran out of super glue. Gonna have to go to the store and get some more. Unfortunately, I can't take it with me because it's not like I have a GoPro or something like that. But, minor tip, if you guys ever find yourself with a bunch of super glue stuck on your hands, the trick is to rub your hands or soak your hands in as hot of water as you can manage. And then it's actually really easy to start to peel it off as your skin starts to dry out and wrinkle. Makes it really easy to scrape off or rub off. I mean, this is most of it already gone off my hands already. So, just minor tip. I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back. Got some extra, just in case this time, so let's get back to it. Alright guys, so everything is glued and set. I've checked it, they're pretty solid. I don't think they're going to go anywhere now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm using Blue Ball Stratum, and it's common knowledge that Blue Ball Stratum doesn't always have the best nutrients. So I bought a little something to add to it. This is substrate Nutrient Base by Aquazen or JBJ Aquariums. You might have heard of them. Got a couple bags of these. We're going to put this on the ground, and then we'll put the substrate over the top of it. Let's get going. Now we're going to go ahead and put the substrate back in. Alright, now we're just going to use the spatula tool again, just kind of spread that around. This is still a little mixed, but it'll be fine. Now I understand it doesn't quite look the same because it kind of buries the wood a little bit, but to be honest, I kind of like it. I actually like it. It kind of makes it look like a tree root that goes, in the ground and out. I actually like it. Let's clean up the glass. Put some water in to kind of get all this dirt out, or the subsoil off the rocks and things, and we'll go from there. Alright, it's time to plant, so let's get to it. Got my post plants right here. I think we're going to start with Anubias coppifolia. We're going to put that, I'm thinking right about here. I think it'll go good right here in this little crack. No need to glue it down, it'll stay. Let's go with the Cypress halferi. This will be the tall plant. We'll put this right over here on the side. Rectus. I want this right about here. I think it'll go good. Next, this Rotala. I'm going to lie it along here in the back. Plant each stem individually. If you can fit a finger in the ground, you can fit a plant. But it always helps to plant heavy at the beginning. That means less chance of algae. By the way, don't be afraid to blend your plants together. It's actually a really useful technique. Say, let's just say, for example, you wanted a, let's just say, for example, that you wanted sort of a meadow kind of look, like a grass field. Sure, you can use dwarf hair grass for that, but if you can add something else to it, like maybe dwarf hair grass and glossostigma, that just adds to it and makes it more natural looking. So don't be afraid to blend your plants. Experiment. Try it out. See what it looks like. This is Corymbosa cementis, the mini version. We're going to stick this right up here. Right here in the middle. Let's go with Lobelia cardinalis. I think we're going to plant this right here in this little area, this little triangle. I think it would look good right there. So I have here with me an Amazon sword. I think that would go really good right about here in the corner. Next is some cryptocorani, Wenda TI green. This right here is Tropica cryptocorani undulata broadleaf. Cryptocorani nuri. This is Cryptocorani pink flamingo. Java fern Gwendolov crested. Dwarf hairgrass. Alright guys, I'm just gonna finish this up and I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. It's been about 3 days since I scaped this tank now. Needed some love, tender loving care, TLC. Needed a couple water changes and some time to let kind of the dust settle and disappear. I did make a few changes to it in the meantime. Let me show you and explain my reasoning. Alright, so some of the changes I've made is there was a piece, you might remember a piece of wood that was right here. I removed that piece of wood because as I stood back and stared at it, I felt like it kind of got in the way of the tank, and my eyes kept going towards that piece of wood, and I kind of saw it as a distraction. So I removed it. I also made a few changes in the plants. As you can see, I moved the Cypress halferi to the very back in place of the Rotala. I thought it looked better that way. I also moved the Rotala orange juice over here to be a small little bush. Thought that would make a good little sort of a medium plant to kind of shape it into a bush and stuff like that. I also added some more cryptocorin pink flamingo right through here to kind of make it sort of the centerpiece that would catch my eye. I also bought a couple other plants. I also bought some standard Hygrophila siamensis or corymbosa and added it on top of the sort of the rock formation. I thought it would be a very easy stem plant look, make it nice and bushy to kind of imitate sort of depth and kind of a jungle-like feel. I also bought a Crinum calamistratum. You might have a hard time seeing it. It's right here behind the wood. Hopefully, I'm hoping that'll kind of grow out, and as it kind of, its tentacles kind of, well, as its leaves, which look like kind of a tentacle octopus sort of, as they kind of shoot out, I thought it would give it like kind of a nice, just sort of a nice effect to make this tank kind of look sort of jungly. I moved the Hygrophila siamensis mini over here, right there. And I also spread out the Lobelia cardinalis around to kind of give it sort of a wild effect. If you don't know this or weren't aware of it, plants in the wild generally don't grow in just bunches or groups. They tend to spread out and mix with other things, so I thought that would be kind of a good idea. So far I'm liking how it's looking. The substrate isn't perfect yet, but as the plants grow in, I'm hoping that'll cover it up and make it look all nice and fancy. Just give you guys a good show of it right there. So currently the only living animal in this tank is the Amano shrimp. I moved them back in. I felt it was safe. Checked the water. I've been testing it and doing daily water changes. And it seems like the bacteria is mostly held up, but we're just going to leave the Amano shrimp in here for now. We'll leave the other fish for later. I don't think I'm going to put the cardinals back in here. I think I'm going to move them to another tank and go with a different species this time. I've always done cardinal tetra or neon tetra in just about every single tank I've had in the past, just because it's kind of been like my go-to and one of my all-time favorites. But this time I just kind of want to step out of my comfort zone and give other species a try. I had maybe emperor tetras in mind for this one. I thought maybe the shimmering translucent purple color would look really good and blend in well with the tank. And I was also thinking of doing a German blue ram or Bolivian rams, depending on which one I can get hold of faster. Anyways, I was thinking of doing a pair of Bolivian rams to go in the scape as well. I thought maybe a small dwarf cichlid would look really well. I'm still thinking maybe a pair of pearl gouramis in the very end, but we're gonna wait a while and see if it would actually need it or not. I'm hoping that a pair of dwarf cichlids would give it something good to watch, but I also want to keep the peace and sort of the mystery that comes with having a light fish load in comparison to having a whole bunch of fish in this tank. On top of that, in this tank we're mostly using the plants as the biological filtration, so we want to keep the fish load fairly light, at least for the beginning of it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and the video, and I hope you learned something and maybe gives you some inspiration as well to try this yourself. Please like, subscribe, comment. It means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. Tell me what you think about this. What are some changes you might make? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much, everybody. Keep scaping. Adios.